the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, but I don't like it. I am now, look, I've had my reasons for being real hard on Stephanie White because I don't know what kind of agenda is going on there. There's been signs over time. There's been two key signs over time that would tell you Stephanie White might just believe that her Indiana Fever team is better without Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark just hit the emergency brake on the 2025 season, and the internet is spiraling harder than a busted washing machine. One statement from her and suddenly fans don't know whether to celebrate, panic, or start crafting conspiracy theories about shoe deals and planetary alignments. This isn't the kind of headline you casually scroll past. It's the kind that grabs you by the collar, shakes you like a snow globe, and screams, "Pay attention." Because in one instant, everything you thought you understood about this season just flipped upside down.
Out.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having conversation with her and collaborating, and we knew that West Coast road trip was going to be a big one to see where we could get and how far we could get. And I think at the end of the day, she's been working her butt off to be able to get back, and we've kind of run out of time to be able to do it in a safe way, in a safe manner. And you know, I think we've all been very open and upfront with her long-term health and wellness is the most important thing. And you know, to be in a position that you need to be in to play at this time of the year, we just ran out of time to get her there.
Steph, what stood out to you about Caitlin and kind of the ray of emotion she probably felt as you came to this decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. Number one, just all the injuries that she's had. Obviously, I wouldn't speak for her, but and the amount of work that she's put in to position herself to be able to play, and then to, you know, have to ultimately make this decision. There's disappointment. There's the obvious frustration that's come with not being healthy really for an entire season. But ultimately, you know, I think the big picture is the most important thing, and those are conversations that we continue to have. You know, and the message has continued to be that you know, it's not her long-term health and wellness and her being 100% when she's ready to go is the most important thing.
I'm curious before.
Hey.
So here we are, staring at the unthinkable. Caitlin Clark's basketball fairy tale might be ending before it even reaches its climax. The player who turned every arena into a sellout, who pulled casual fans into women's hoops with nothing but limitless range and swagger, now sits on the sideline looking like the sport's most painful what-if. And let's be real, the whispers are already swirling. Is this really it? Could one injury wipe away the hype, the records, the highlight reels, and leave Clark branded as the most heartbreaking one-season wonder in recent memory?
That seems to be the thing where it's like, you know, we're running out of time to do it in a safe manner, where it's not necessary. I don't think it's necessarily that Caitlin can't play. It's that Caitlin's probably in the same situation as she was when she played before. As in, she came back, played 5 games, got injured, came back, played 4 games, got injured. Am I right in that? 4, 5, 4. Yeah. Or 4 games and 5 games, whatever way it was. I think it was 5 got injured, 4 got injured. So I think they're scared that if they bring back Caitlin now, maybe, that she's going to go and pick up another soft tissue injury. That's my interpretation of what's happening right now. That's what it sounds like.
Let's be real, the sports world forgets faster than a TikTok trend. One season you're the face of the game, the golden child lighting up every highlight reel, and the next you're just a trivia answer fans drop while hyping the next rookie. Caitlin Clark's rookie year felt like the launch pad to legend, a season that screamed superstardom was inevitable. But now? She's staring at a medical chart that even die-hard optimists can't spin. It's harsh, but that's the truth. Sports doesn't care how many jerseys you sold, how many arenas you packed, or how many kids wore your number. It only cares if you can still show up.
Have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, you know, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA, but the good news is her career is not over. But, you know, it's a tough blow when it all comes crashing down like that. And, you know, ever since Stephanie...
Right now, Caitlin Clark isn't suiting up for games, she's suiting up for press conferences. And the message? It doesn't sound like a comeback rallying cry. It feels like PR damage control. The tone isn't "see you soon." It's "please don't forget me while I vanish into rehab limbo." The spotlight that once chased her everywhere is starting to fade, and Clark knows it.
All right, so now, I don't know who asked the question. The young lady, shout out to you. She said, hey, are you guys going to make an announcement? Like that, I appreciate you at least. You didn't say it as blunt as I would have, but you said it. You asked the question. Hey, because now she's saying, yeah, the plan on this West Coast trip was to evaluate. How you going to evaluate her if she never had contact? What's the evaluation? She's been able to shoot jump shots. She's been able to run up and down the court by herself with nobody touching her. What was there to evaluate? Now you're pushing it through the weekend, leading us on, having us dangling in.
And of course, the trolls didn't waste a second. The same people who couldn't pick Caitlin Clark out of a lineup last season are suddenly Twitter surgeons, diagnosing her career like it's already on the autopsy table. Overnight, she's the Greg Oden of women's hoops in their hot takes, washed before her second paycheck clears. That's the brutality of the internet. If you're not dropping highlights, you're just fresh meat for ridicule. Some stars snap back stronger, others break and never quite glue together again. Nobody knows which side Clark will land on, but the chatter is relentless. And here's the wildest part. Just months ago, she was cooking defenses, stacking highlights like cheat codes, and breezing through interviews with that easy grin like she'd unlocked the secret to sports stardom. Now, one injury later, and the narrative has flipped so violently it feels cruel.
There you have it, folks. My hot take from earlier this year, all of a sudden, not so hot. Caitlin Clark announced that she's going to be out for the rest of the season. Obviously, a nice little post here thanking her teammates, saying she fought back, was in the gym trying to come back. She wanted to, but Caitlin Clark not returning for the rest of the season. It makes sense considering where the Fever are at in the playoffs right now. Right now, they are making the playoffs. They're the 8th seed, so it would be the final seed there. But are they going to make much noise? Chloe Bibby just went out for the rest of the season. She was one of the...
There you have it, folks. My so-called hot take from earlier this year? Suddenly not so hot anymore. Caitlin Clark just announced she's out for the rest of the season. She posted a classy little note thanking her teammates, saying she fought, saying she worked in the gym, saying she wanted to be back. But the reality is simple, Caitlin Clark is not returning. And honestly, it makes sense. The Fever are hanging on to that 8th seed, sure, but let's be real, are they actually going to make noise? Especially after losing Chloe B for the rest of the year too? And now every update on Clark doesn't feel like sports news anymore. It feels like a daytime soap opera. Will she return? Will she ever be the same? Has her confidence cracked? Fans aren't sharing highlight reels right now, they're analyzing injury reports like fortune tellers reading tea leaves, terrified that maybe, just maybe, they already witnessed her peak. Because here's the harsh truth, not every career ends with farewell tours and standing ovations. Some just stop. For every storybook comeback, there are a dozen athletes who fade quietly into trivia question obscurity. And that's the nightmare hanging over Clark right now. The media isn't helping either. The questions have already started. Was she overrated? Was it all just hype? Or worse, does her rise prove women's basketball still can't sustain a true superstar? It's brutal. It's exhausting. But that's the machine. And Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it.
Clark is out for the rest of the WNBA season. She had posted this whole statement on Instagram as well as the Fever officially announcing it just now here on this Thursday evening. And there have been some talks about from the Fever staff about her potentially trying to come back, and they had kind of been trying to drag this out as much as possible over the course of this season, but there simply seems to just not be enough time in this season for them to fully feel comfortable in getting her healthy. And the message that has been sent has always been the most important thing is her long-term health. That is what the Indiana...
He finally had the balls to ask somebody, hey, are you guys going to make an announcement? You said you're having a meeting. You had your evaluation on the West Coast trip. Now you're going to have a meeting. Are you guys going to let the fans know what the hell is going on? Because y'all keep collecting ticket money. Y'all keep promoting that she's going to be at this arena and that arena. Y'all keep saying that she's day-to-day. First we heard she might be back for the Minnesota Lynx the first game we played them a week ago. She wasn't even ready for that. A miraculous ankle injury popped up.
Here we are. The next morning, the next morning after it was announced that Caitlin Clark would not be returning this season, something that I think most of us pretty much knew for maybe at least the last couple of weeks. I heavily suspected it for the last, if I'm being real, last month. Although I kept kind of holding out hope because, well, I wanted a reason to keep watching these games. And that's why the Indiana Fever has gotten dogged out as...
And to the disappointment to a lot of people, she will not play for the rest of the season. Now, what does this mean for her? Rest. Big time rest. Get healthy. That's the number one thing. When you miss a full season, it's tough to come back and not be rusty. So I think a lot of the off season is going to be spent rehabbing her legs, getting stronger, and just working towards getting back to 2026 so that she can be healthy and take on the full season.
A conversation and a agreement that would have happened between the Fever organization and, I assume, Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA. We don't want to mess these ratings up now. We don't want to mess those ratings up now, do we? Let's make it look like she's going to come back. So I knew there was going to be a lot of reaction today and last night, overnight. And Amber Cox, the CEO and general manager for the Fever, has released a statement on Twitter X. And it has gotten quite the response from Caitlin Clark fans.
WNBA ratings' worst nightmare just came true because it was just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out for the rest of the season. She's only played 13 games this season, and her most recent injury, which happened back in July, was a groin injury. The craziest part about all of this has been the reporting around her injury. The team has never given her a timetable for return, and literally up until today, the team had been reporting that she was still trying to get back on the court this season. The Fever only have 3 regular season games left in the season before playoffs. Some fans were even speculating that they've just been stringing fans along the whole time because they know that ratings and attendance.
No, Caitlin Clark recently put out a statement basically saying that she is out for the remainder of the season. Sad news for the basketball world. Avid WNBA fans know that Caitlin Clark has been sidelined for weeks, actually months, due to her groin injury. Has been putting a lot of work in rehabbing, trying to get back onto the court. And some people had high hopes that she would make it back in time for the playoffs because right now the Fever sit at the 8th spot. Not sure if they'll be able to keep the 8th spot and get into the playoffs, but a lot of people had high hopes that she would make it back in time for the playoffs. I'm personally glad that the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark decided to just rest her for the rest of the season and just shut it down.